Whether you want to pay off debt, save for a down payment on a house, or simply get a better handle on your finances, budgeting can help you achieve your goals. But we know that budgeting isn't always easy. It takes time, effort, and discipline to stick to a budget. That's why we've put together 14 tips to help you budget effectively and reach your financial goals. Tip number 1, set clear financial goals. The first step to successful budgeting is setting clear financial goals. Without goals, it's difficult to know where to start or what to aim for. So take some time to think about what you want to achieve with your budget. Are you trying to save for a down payment on a house? Pay off student loans or build an emergency fund? Once you have a clear understanding of your goals, you can develop a budget that will help you achieve them. In addition, be sure to set both short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals are those that you want to achieve within the next year, while long-term goals are those that you want to achieve in 5 years or more. By setting both types of goals, you'll have something to strive for both immediately and in the future. Tip number 2, track your spending. Another important step to take when creating a budget is to track your spending. You need to understand where your money is going now in order to make changes where necessary. There are a variety of ways to track your spending. You can use a budgeting app like Mint or a NAB, a spreadsheet, or a notebook. Whichever method you choose, be sure to track every expense, no matter how small. This will give you a clear picture of your spending habits so you can see where your money is going and identify areas where you can cut back. Tip 3, create a realistic budget. Once you've tracked your spending, it's time to create a realistic budget. This means estimating your income and expenses and creating a plan for how you'll allocate your funds. Be sure to include all of your expenses in your budget, including fixed costs like rent and utilities, variable costs like groceries and gas, and periodic expenses like car maintenance. In addition, be sure to allocate funds for savings and investments. If you don't have enough money left over at the end of the month for savings, you may need to cut back on discretionary spending to free up more money. When creating your budget, it's important to be realistic. Don't try to create a perfect budget that you know you can't stick to. Instead, create a budget that is based on your actual spending habits and that you can realistically stick to over the long term. Tip number 4, prioritize your spending. When allocating your funds, it's important to prioritize your spending. This means spending money on the things that are most important to you first and then cutting back on less important expenses if necessary. For example, if you're trying to save for a down payment on a house, you may want to prioritize your spending towards your savings goals. This could mean cutting back on discretionary spending like eating out or buying new clothes until you reach your savings goal. On the other hand, if you're trying to pay off debt, you may want to prioritize your spending towards debt repayment. This could mean making more than the minimum payments on your debts each month or consolidating your debts to lower your interest rate. By prioritizing your spending, you can ensure that you're allocating your funds towards your most important goals. Tip 5, review and adjust your budget regularly. It is important to review and adjust your budget regularly to ensure that you're on track to meet your financial goals. This means taking a look at your budget each month and making any necessary adjustments. For example, if you're retracking your spending and notice that you're spending more money than you expected on groceries, you can adjust your budget to reflect that. Or if your income changes, you'll need to adjust your budget accordingly. By reviewing and adjusting your budget regularly, you can ensure that it is still realistic and that you're on track to meet your financial goals. Tip 6, cut unnecessary expenses. One way to free up more money for your goals is to cut unnecessary expenses. This means taking a close look at your spending and identifying areas where you can cut back. For example, do you really need to pay for cable TV? Could you get by with a cheaper cell phone plan? By cutting back on these types of expenses, you can free up more money for your goals. There are also a number of other ways to cut expenses. For example, you could shop around for insurance quotes to see if you can get a better deal. Or you could negotiate your bills down. Another example, you could call your internet provider and ask for a lower rate. In many cases, providers are willing to offer discounts to keep customers. By taking these steps, you can reduce your expenses and free up more money for your goals. Tip number 7, automate your finances. Another tip for successful budgeting is to automate your finances. This means setting up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings account, so that you don't have to think about it. You can also set up automatic payments for your bills. This will help you avoid late fees and make sure that your bills are paid on time. There are a number of ways to automate your finances. Most banks and credit unions offer online banking and bill pay services that allow you to set up automatic payments. You can also use a service like Mint or a NAB to automate your savings. These services allow you to set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings account. By automating your finances, you can make sure that you're saving money and paying your bills on time without having to think about it. Tip 8, build an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a must-have for anyone looking to improve their financial situation. An emergency fund is a sum of money that you set aside for unexpected expenses. Emergencies can include things like a car repair, medical bill, or a trip to the emergency room. Having an emergency fund can help you avoid going into debt to cover these expenses. To build an emergency fund, start by setting aside a small amount of money each month. Even $5 or $10 a month can add up over time. As you get closer to your goal, you may want to increase the amount that you're setting aside. Ideally, you want to have 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses saved in your emergency fund. This will give you a cushion to fall back on in case of an emergency. Tip number 9, consider inflation. When creating a budget, it's important to consider inflation. Inflation is the rate at which prices for goods and services increase over time. This means that the cost of living is constantly going up. For example, the cost of groceries and gas is likely to continue rising in the future. So be sure to factor in these increases when creating your budget. You may also want to add a buffer to your budget to account for any unexpected costs that may arise. By considering inflation and adding a buffer to your budget, you can make sure that you're prepared for the future. Tip number 10, automate everything. While we already mentioned automating your finances, this tip is specifically about automating everything you can with your budget. For example, setting up automatic bill payments can help you avoid late fees and save time. You can also automate your savings by setting up automatic transfers to your savings account. By automating as much of your budget as possible, you can free up time and energy to focus on other aspects of your life. Plus, it can help you stay on track with your financial goals. There are a variety of ways to automate your budget. Most banks and credit unions offer online banking and bill pay services that allow you to set up automatic payments. You can also use a service like Mint or a NAB to automate your savings. These services allow you to set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings account. Whatever method you choose, be sure to automate as much of your budget as possible to free up time and energy. Tip number 11, get specific. When setting financial goals, it's important to get specific. Instead of setting a vague goal like saving more money, set a specific goal like limiting spending on takeout to $50 per month or saving $500 by December. Specific goals are easier to measure, which makes them easier to achieve. When setting financial goals, it's also important to be realistic. Don't set yourself up for failure by setting unrealistic goals. For example, if you currently spend $200 a month on takeout, it's not realistic to expect that you'll be able to cut that spending in half overnight. Start with small, achievable goals and work your way up. And finally, when setting financial goals, it's important to be flexible. Your circumstances may change, so be prepared to adjust your goals accordingly. For example, if you get a raise at work, you may be able to save more money than you originally planned. On the other hand, if you experience an unexpected expense, you may need to scale back on your savings goals temporarily. Tip number 12, stay flexible. As we mentioned before, your circumstances may change and you may need to adjust your budget accordingly. For example, if you get a raise at work, you'll need to update your budget to reflect your new income. Or if you take on a new expense, such as a car payment, you'll need to find a way to make up for that in your budget. That's why it's important to be flexible when budgeting. Don't be afraid to make changes as needed. And remember that it's okay to ask for help if you need it. There are a variety of resources available to help you create a budget, such as books, websites, and financial advisors. Don't let pride or shame prevent you from seeking the help that you need. By staying flexible and seeking help when needed, you'll be able to create a budget that works for you and helps you achieve your financial goals. Tip number 13, celebrate milestones. Celebrating milestones can help keep you motivated and on track to achieve your financial goals. When you reach a significant milestone, take some time to celebrate your success. This could involve treating yourself to something special, such as a night out with friends or a new purchase. Or it could be as simple as taking a moment to acknowledge your achievement and reflect on how far you've come. By celebrating your milestones, you'll be able to stay motivated and committed to your budget and financial goals. Tip number 14, seek support. Finally, don't hesitate to seek support when creating a budget. Creating a budget can be challenging, but you don't have to do it alone. Reach out to friends or family members for support and guidance. You can also use budgeting tools or consult with a financial advisor. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to create a budget, and there's no shame in asking for help. With the right support, you'll be able to create a budget that works for you and helps you achieve your financial goals. We hope these tips have been helpful in learning how to budget. We know that budgeting isn't always easy, but it's definitely worth it. By following these tips, you will be able to create a budget that works for you and helps you achieve your financial goals. Do you have any other tips for successful budgeting? Share them with us in the comments below. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are plenty of resources available to help you create a budget and stick to it. Thanks for watching.